So we're here today with Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Um, Thank you very much for coming to PemFit. You're a long-term client. Could you just explain to everyone, please, what initially brought you to PemFit?
Right. Okay. So, a friend had suggested to my husband that she thought it would be good for me and for him.
Mm,
I'd had a long-term chronic condition. I have a couple of autoimmune conditions as well. And she just thought we would benefit from it. So I came along thinking that I was coming along just for my husband, and I had a session as well. I have quite bad arthritis in both knees, and at the end of the first session, the pain was significantly reduced. But the most interesting thing was my tinnitus. My 10-year tinnitus had gone, and it's never really come back. So what brought me here initially was thinking I was supporting my husband. What has kept me here is the benefits that I feel I get from it.
Amazing. That's incredible. So thinking back to your first sessions, how does it feel? How quickly did you feel the benefits? Is it comfortable? What does it feel like during your session? That sort of thing.
So going back to the first session, obviously you get matched to an intensity that um, you felt that we could manage with. So
Mm,
it's always comfortable. Um, the benefit, sort of like the from an arthritic pain point of view, was instantaneous. I'm not
mm,
saying it. I'm not saying it cleared the pain, but there was instant pain relief, and certainly that then remained. That relief remained for certainly for a few days afterwards.
mm,
And in terms of comfort, I always find it really relaxing. I've fallen asleep today. I quite often fall asleep because to me, especially when I have the lower frequencies, it feels like a full body massage, as well as the fact that I'm getting the electromagnetic benefits. I'm also getting a body massage.
I
So
love that description.
yeah,
I often say that it feels to me like a
it
deep
is.
tissue
It
massage.
is.
It's
It
nice,
is
isn't it?
like having a massage. So it's
Yeah,
two for the price of one.
yeah, love it, love it. And what's interesting for me also is you have a scientific background. You're a physicist, and you understand about how and why this is working.
Yes.
Um,
And it's one of the things initially when it was our friend put this to us. I tend to be skeptical until I can find
yeah,
evidence. And because I actually have a degree in chemistry as well as a background in physics, so I've got sort of like qualifications in both.
mm,
I go to scientific journals. I
mm,
go to peer reviewed journals to look up information to support something.
mm,
If I can't find anything to support it, it doesn't mean I'm not going to try it. I will be more skeptical.
mm,
Um, Now, in the case of this, it wasn't like a UK licensed medicinal device.
mm,
However, I did find a lot of scientific papers, particularly from the States, and I believe it's licensed in the States for treating depression as well as pain relief.
mm,
And I found quite a lot of scientific journals, peer reviewed, to back up the fact that improvements had been seen in people using these kind of frequencies. And I think it's also licensed in Germany. Now, I used to run a factory that made pharmaceutical products,
mm,
and I know how hard it is to get anything licensed.
mm,
It is not easy.
mm.
And so that gave me a lot of confidence in what I was dealing with.
Oh, excellent! It's really interesting to hear. And yes, you know, the FDA approved PEMF as a modality
Mm,
to address anxiety and depression
mm,
as far back as the 80s, which is probably what you're referring
yeah.
to. They do caveat that by saying where drugs are not effective.
Mm.
However, really good that you've done your research and you found that most importantly, it also works for you as well.
Yes,
So
and
that's
and
great.
that's just it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So thinking back to how life, if at all, how have things have they changed or improved? What's quality of life like? 4 years later?
Yeah, so basically, like my main issue would be the arthritis. Now, I'm not going to pretend that my knees are perfect, but I also know how bad my mum's knees were and how badly they progressed in her mid to late 50s, which unfortunately for me is where I am. They haven't got significantly worse. And usually after a session, certainly for the next few days, in terms of pain, they'll be much easier. And so I'm still doing the walking that I was doing 10 years ago. You know, steep downhills and stuff like that have always been a problem for my knees. I would say I can manage those better now.
Really?
Yeah.
With a progressive, generally regarded as a progressive and degenerative condition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. And the tinnitus?
The tinnitus hasn't come back apart from if I get poorly. Like I had proper flu, not, you know, proper influenza flu a couple of years ago. It came back very briefly while I had that, then it goes. So, but in the past as well, as if either of us have not been well, we might ring up and book ourselves in for a booster session.
Yeah, a top up.
Yeah, a top up to keep us going. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Jane. It's wonderful to have you as clients and to follow your journey. And thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
No, thank you.
Come and see us. We would love to support your journey to optimal wellness. PemFit. Recharge your cells. Revitalise your life.